There are very few things in life that I would consider perfect. Circus animal cookies, my son, when a song ends right as I reach my destination while driving, and a good concert after a long work week are a few things I consider perfect. And next to those lies Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 2 is one of the few games in my life that I would call a comfort game. As I know whatever is happening in life, this game is a consistent fountain of joy that I can tap into. After a brutal day in the Texas sun, a particularly cranky night with my boy, cats screaming, things going wrong, after everything is said and done, if I can find 45 minutes to sit down and play, then at the end of it, I know I'll be alright. So while I'm in a turning point in my life right now, with moving, a potential new career, this channel, and yada yada, I figured it'd be a perfect time to sit down and review Risk of Rain 2 with you guys, and really chew into what makes this game a masterpiece. I look forward to hearing your stories and experience with the game, good or bad, in the comments down below. The comments are there for you to say what you wish, so let everyone know what you think. Alright, now that I wrote my conclusion and call to action at the beginning of the video, like an idiot, I think it's time we dive into Risk of Rain 2. From an outsider perspective, I can imagine someone struggling to understand the appeal of Risk of Rain 2. A third-person action roguelike, where you fight hordes of creatures till you beat any of the final bosses. Then you just do it again, over and over. If you've never played this game before and are curious, maybe watching this review to see if the game's worth it, or maybe hesitant about spending the money to get all the DLCs, then I'll save you the many minutes of this video and tell you the magic of this game happens the moment you play your first round. Seriously, Steam gives you 2 hours of playtime before you lose your ability to do a refund. So since I've already wrote this video backwards anyways, I don't feel bad by saying buy Risk of Rain 2 and all of its DLC. Use up those 2 hours, and if you don't like it, then refund it. In classic roguelite fashion, a new player will start out with very few items to use and only 2 characters. The game explains almost nothing to you, and at first I didn't like this, but you'll understand why the devs made this decision later when everything starts clicking together. For now, pick whatever character is cutest and load into a drizzle difficulty match. The absolutely broad strokes of this game is as follows. You kill things to get money. You use the money to get items to kill bigger and badder things, to get more money, to get more items, to kill bigger and badder things, to get more money, to get more items, to kill bigger and badder things, until at the end of it, you kill any pseudo-god of your choice, or kill your computer, whichever comes first. And you would be genuinely surprised how often it's your computer. The matches slowly turn from this to this. During this ascension to godhood, you'll be picking up items that have simple effects, such as giving you a drop of more maximum health, to some items that alter the fundamental rules of a run. As you collect these items, you'll slowly replace the weak vessel you call your body into something more closely resembling the horrors of an unstoppable force. By the time you finish a match, you'll no longer be made in God's image. Instead, you'll be the reason he turns his back on us all. To illustrate this point, an example of simple items include the Power Elixir, which gives you a chunk of healing automatically when going below 25% health, or the Goat's Hoof, which increases your movement speed. Whereas you look at some of the goofier, more powerful items like the Happiest Mask, which gives you a not so small chance to create a ghost of any enemy you kill, yes, even bosses, to fight for your side. Or how about the Shatter Spleen, which lets your critical strikes cause massive bleeding damage, and if the bleeding kills an enemy, then they will also explode. Did I mention it's not hard to get 100% critical strike chance? Then there are the items which change how you play. For example, the Egocentrism item eats one of your other items every minute and turns into an orb of murder and death. So now it's not so much about collecting items to build a strategy, as it is just managing the items that Egocentrism eats, and making sure you have enough items to feed it. Fun fact, my brother and I call this going orb mode. One of the things I enjoy the most about this game is how the game genuinely encourages you to break it. The game will let you mix and match any items to create incredibly broken builds, and the game has no problem in letting you steamroll the enemies and levels. In fact, I've had runs where the boss's health bar shows up and gets deleted before the boss has even fully spawned in. Want to move so fast that your abilities become almost impossible to control? Sure, go right ahead. It's funny because this game isn't just some lawless space where you can truly do anything you want. There are definitely some rules you have to follow. The first one that comes to mind is there's an item that you get called the Goobo Jr. This creates a clone of you that has all of your abilities and deals 300% of your base damage. Yeah, it is as powerful as you think it is, and Goobo Jr. is classified as an equipment. Equipment are items you have to activate, and they're on a cooldown. There's another thing called an equipment drone you can find out in the world. The equipment drone automatically activates whatever equipment you give it. So if you give it rockets, it'll fire rockets on its own. If you give it a radar scanner, it'll radar scan all on its own. Sounds baller, right? So you'd think that by giving the equipment drone the Goobo Jr., then it will automatically create a clone of you, right? Nope, it clones itself because it's the holder of the equipment it clones. So this all illustrates that just because you can more or less create any build you want, you still have to follow some rules. But funny enough, even the game gives you methods of bending those rules through the artifact system. More or less cheats that you can find around levels and hidden spots. After going through a process of actually being able to use these artifacts, then each new run will allow you to select a cheat. My personal favorite artifact is the artifact of command. Normal item acquisition and build creation in Risk of Rain 2 goes as such. You spawn with nothing, and as you gain money, you gain random items through primarily chests and shops. If you don't like that item, then you can turn it into scrap that you can exchange at a printer for an item you want more if you can find one. It's not the cleanest system, but it pairs almost perfectly with the random loot drops and RNG based gameplay. Well, the artifact of command just skips all that and lets you pick whatever item you want after you spend the money. Yeah, the game just casually lets you sidestep a huge component of the core gameplay loop. And you want to know the best part? You're not punished whatsoever. In fact, achievements and progression are not gated by difficulty or cheats being used. So if you and a buddy want to get together and throw it on drizzle mode with a chunk of cheats active and just grind out all the items and characters you need to unlock still, then there's no punishment for it. The developers have enough love of fun that they don't care what you do or how you play, and they respect the player enough to trust that they will play the game in a way that is the most fun for them without any threat of being looked down on. I think this is why I consider this a comfort game, because every little drop of this game feels like it was designed to be fun and enjoyable to the player. And besides a few technical missteps during the release of the newest DLC, Seekers of the Storm, I think this game successfully gives off a warm bed on a cold night type of atmosphere. Is this true for you, or am I completely stupid and misguided or something? Let me know down below and hit that like and subscribe button, and go ahead and take a drink of water, straighten your posture, and unclench your jaw while you're at it. In fact, go take a bathroom break and call your mom and tell her that you love her. Okay, alright, moving on to one of the most frequently praised aspects of this game, the music. I'm still a new YouTuber and I'm learning the rules of the copyright system, so if all is well, then you should be hearing a chunk of the soundtrack in the background of this video. There's everything from rock to jazz, all masterfully crafted. Some of these songs sounds like they forgot they were making a silly little roguelite, and instead made songs more fit for a god to listen to. The game's relatively simple sound design pairs excellently with this soundtrack, and after playing over 100 hours in the last year or two, I never really got aggravated at any noises or music repeating. The in-game noises are all well done, and the important things you need to know about are all well pronounced, such as items popping up in the middle of tense conflicts. Certain difficult enemies have audio tells for their bigger attacks, and can usually tell what enemy just spawned around the corner based on the sound you just heard. Risk of Rain 2 easily has one of the most enjoyable soundscapes of any video game I've played recently, maybe rivaled only by Persona 5. Moving on, if you're a fan from Software's storytelling method of having all the item descriptions having all the lore and story, then you'll be happy with this game. As you complete different challenges and achievements, you'll begin to have your logbook expand. Inside of the logbook is all the story for Risk of Rain 2 outside of literally a few sentences throughout the game. The story itself is alright. You're an agent tasked with responding to a distress call from the ship from the first game. It's implied your ship is under attack, and in order to stop the attack, you jump around these teleporter doohickeys till you find the monster's boss Mithrix, who you kill in battle and escape to your ship. Mithrix is one of two brothers. The other is called Providence, and they're both a billion gajillion years old. Well, they were, until Providence dies in the first game and Mithrix dies in this one. They were both pseudo-gods of creation who ruled the planet we are on. Mithrix decided to try to expand their rulership into space, and Providence decided to lock them up on the moon in a prison where all Mithrix can do is create. None of this is really spoilers, by the way. Absolutely none of this is said or handled in game, except reading in the logbook. There are other powers to be as well, such as the Void, a separate dimension purposefully left vague so the devs have all kinds of creative freedom. And also there's some cultists thrown around in there too. No one really cares about the lore as much as the gameplay, but there are some relaxing videos on YouTube that explain everything as well as it can be explained. Check out the channel called The Grove Tender for some listenable friendly lore dumps. Not that he really needs me to advertise for him. So I've praised the game enough. Surely no game is perfect. So what are some negatives about Risk of Rain 2? The first one is that the multiplayer is severely underbaked. For example, when you click ready, it begins the countdown timer to the game starting. Literally only one person needs to do this. So if no one is ready except for one player, it doesn't matter. Another thing is there is no lobby management, meaning you can't kick people out or ban people or anything like that. And I had a not so small number of cheaters who would always join my lobby and immediately hit ready, forcing me to literally have to disband the whole lobby just to get rid of them, in which they would just simply rejoin again. Also, the connection is very unstable. Almost half the games my brother and I play end up with one of us just straight up disconnecting for no reason, although we're both on fiber internet and there's no way for either of us to rejoin the match. So it just ends runs with no rhyme or warning. Another bad thing about this game is also its greatest strength, that being that the game is a roguelite. Some runs are perfect and godlike, but sometimes some runs can be so unbelievably unlucky that it has an actual emotional drain on me. Like, I had a match with my brother in preparation for this video, where we both got nothing but defensive and utility items, no damage to speak of. So by like round 3, we could heal all day long, but even the smallest enemy took decades to kill. Again, that's not so much the game's fault as it is the genre as a whole, but man, does it turn my comfort game into a throw my laptop out the window type of game. Unfortunately for all the pessimists out there, these cons do not outweigh the good, because when the game is firing on all cylinders, it literally feels like being on drugs, dude, as you fly around completely wiping out the map in a god run, so powerful, your computer has to be the one to kill it just so it can stop suffering, all while listening to a dude go absolutely ham on the keyboard and guitar. Seriously, I cannot recommend this game enough. For the $50 you pay to get the complete package, you get hundreds of hours of ever-evolving, dynamic, action-packed gameplay. Get a couple buddies involved and you'll be hooting and hollering before too long. If you've made it this far into the video and are still unsure, just grab it and try it for an hour or two and return it. Even though I highly doubt you'll need to. I don't want to keep flapping my jab for too long because there's only so many ways I can say the music is good, the gameplay loop is good, and the game is fun. So I'm going to leave it off there and tell y'all to hit that like and subscribe button. If you have a game you want me to check out or review, leave it down below. Not sure what I'm feeling next. Maybe Halo Wars? Or another Command and Conquer game maybe? Or maybe something unknown and esoteric. Let me know down below. Roburn out.